Hello, everyone. Welcome to J&N Travels Family Circus. First of all, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. What this family circus is, as you all know, Nancy and I do a live on Wednesday afternoons at 2, and we do one every other Sunday. And I felt there were a couple Sundays in there that were just kind of boring, and we didn't have a live going on. So we developed a couple different kind of lives, and this is the first one. The second one is still in a work in progress. But this one is a traveling one, but it's from our eyes on trips we've taken. My parents had passed on the desire to us, my two brothers and my sister, to travel and see stuff before we get too old not to see it. And we're taking full advantage. We're trying to take full advantage of that. So I thought maybe I could delve into some family travel and open up some parts of the world that I have not been to also and talk about it. My parents did everything from, Europe to Disney World to California to cruising. And the rest of my family's done a variety of other kind of vacations. So on future lives, we're going to have family members co-hosting and discussing travel, hence the name J&N Travels Family Circus. And that's also based on, I'm aging myself here, but dating myself, but a comic strip of a family circus back in the newspaper when I was a kid. So it's kind of a spoof on that a little bit too. During these lives, we're going to try and focus on one topic, not just all over travel. We're going to come up with one topic that we can talk about from our perspective, and we'll talk about it with you. Please make comments and ask questions, anything you want to do as part of this topic. Sometimes it will be a country or a vacation that we took, but today we decided to discuss the comparisons on cruises from our perspective, and that goes from a single person to a couple to a small family or group into a large family. Those are the four, angles that we can come from. You all may have different experiences. You can share them if you want. We're just giving you our experiences. So today's co-host is my brother, and he took a couple single cruise with me, and he's taken other cruises. So he's going to discuss this with me. My bro Wayne will be hopefully co-hosting the majority of these type of shows. We'll see how he likes it first. This is his first time up here with me. So I am going to, let's hope he brings him up. He's still there. He didn't run out, so he's still here. Welcome in, bro.
I am. I'm still on the line if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, you sound good.
Hey, John and J&N Travels, thanks for having me on today. This sounds like a lot of fun, and I see folks commenting away out there, so it's nice to have some folks from, sounds like around the world, listening in to hear what we have to say.
It is good. It is good. And before we, before we go on, I just want to acknowledge anyone that's in the chat now, talk about all around the world. The first one that was in here is Sean and Alana from the Down Under Cruises from Australia. And I use Sean for my fortune to tell in the future because he's always about a day and half ahead of us. Blaine from Creative Travel, he's one of our moderators. Welcome in, Blaine. Amy, thank you for joining us, Amy. I've got to know Amy through the Griswold site. Travels with Cheryl and Ed, thank you for joining us. Box Van D, thank you very much for coming on. And Maxwell Smart, thank you for joining us. So I guess let's see here. First thing is, if you could and you want to, please hit the thumbs up, ring the bell, all that fun stuff. It helps us out in the long term. And I guess, Wayne, why don't you just give me your history of cruising real quickly, and then we'll go into the different categories.
Sure. It's my family's a little different in their travel habits. We tend to be staycationers and destination folks. We go places and tend to enjoy what's there. So cruises never jumped out at me as being the type of travel that we'd focus on. But as it turns out, every time I've experienced it, we've done cruises, as you said, with friends, couples and singles. We've done cruises just with my immediate family, my wife and two kids, when they were just edging on teenage years. And then we've done family travel with Brother John and the extended family to celebrate birthdays that involved a larger part of our family. So very interesting to find. Enjoyed all of them. I found it was actually a very good way of seeing different parts of the world. but also settling what we like to do, which is play and enjoy what's there for the moment. So you can really get both of those things. You can get a lot out of the cruising experience, which has been the experience I've seen. So
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. Samoa just popped in, and I'm not sure, but I think Heather is insulting one of us. Oh my God, you look just like your brother.
I'm not sure if I'm insulted or complimented there.
That's right.
Does Johnny look like the good-looking one, or does Wayne look like the other one?
That's right. Okay, so we go to the first category, which we're going to start, which is the singles. This is when I took 2 cruises as a single, and bro Wayne took 1, and it just happened to be both of them were on the same ship and the same cruise line, which was a holiday. So, what did you think stuck out with you taking the cruises as singles?
Well, I definitely knew I was looking for a liver transplant at the end of it. It was really an extension of our college years and the fun we had. Either college or your 20s, your mid-20s, when you're if you're into the bar scene or running around with friends and doing beach parties, things like that. It was a great way to keep that alive and running, because it was basically a bar hopping scene surrounding you, lots of games and partying to do, tons of people to meet that had the same interest. So I found it, and in that same time, you were getting to see different parts of the world, which was fun, but doing it with a group of individuals.
And the one big thing you're leaving out, which you could exemplarize on this picture here, is you're definitely on there as a single looking to mingle with the opposite sex that we were back then. This was my cruise. Wayne wasn't on this one, but this was a group, and how they booked them. They call group cruises nowadays. I don't even know if they do them this way, but this was called Single World, and it was just a bunch of people would sign up for this, and it was treated like a group cruise. You'd have your receptions and your parties and stuff like that. So you get to know people that were there with the same thoughts in mind.
Now, did you ink in that mustache after the fact, John?
Jeez, I know. I wish I could wipe that out. It must have been going through a phase. This is just people we met on the ship. This was must have been a rebel stage on the ship they're going on. Let's see. Now, this is something we would do. This is one thing it was very different than I'm doing nowadays. We would go on the ship. We would basically party all day and into the night and sleep late. Now, I find it sacrilegious nowadays to sleep too late. You miss out so much in the breakfasts and everything. Do you remember that, sleeping in on a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, that's definitely was the main kind of mode we were in for the even with the friends cruise, or even when you're with couples. But at that 20-something age, when you're running around and partying as late as they'll go, and they do run late, and of course then you're hitting the midnight buffet and grabbing a few ice creams on the way through. But it seemed like we didn't realize there was a full agenda on that boat during the day until probably halfway through the cruise, when those pieces of paper piled up on your floor and you saw all the activities you had missed the day before.
Yeah, that was a sad thing, because they hand out those flyers and you look at all the stuff. Now, a lot of that stuff didn't pertain to us back then. We were looking, as you'll see in a few clips later on, the social thing during the day. Let's see what's next on my picture here. Okay, that's the group again out on deck. You'd hang out, and you notice everyone had the bottles in their hands. I don't think the rules were as strict back then either, because weren't we bringing a lot of booze on the ship with us?
We did. There's some pictures a little later on you'll see where our room was set up with all the good Jamaican rums that we picked up in transit, and I don't think they stopped you at that point from hauling booze in and out unless you were paying taxes on it.
This was one of the deck things. Carnival Cruise Lines back then used to be called the party ships. I know it's called that kind of now, but it was a lot different back then when they talked party. Your contests were, there was some, remember the erotic ones, like the balloons? They'd grab a girl and they'd grab a guy, and you'd have to pop the balloon on their lap. And there were drinking contests. You'll see one coming up too that was, we'll wait till we get there. But
I do see your foot.
This one
here. See your foot down on that one. Is this the punishment for losing the previous game here?
Which one's that?
Yeah, it looks like you were just hitting the floor on that one.
Yeah, it does look like. No, my foot's actually not touching. You roll off that thing. It's high. It's about 8 feet up, and you roll off and hit that mat. So it looks like I'm about to lose, though. This was two good friends of mine. I saw the other side of them, I guess. There was a thing where there was another way of getting people to mingle, where guys would dress as ladies, and the job was to go find single ladies so that they would give you their attire. This is night attire. Can you imagine how stretched out these were?
Yep. I was going to say this might be a different type of cruise, but
no, it wasn't.
Apparently it had the singular focus, which is good. So
yeah, it was just everything geared to mingle. Let's see. And then they would put you at the tables. Now, the cruises, I've been on a lot of NCL cruises, and you could have your own table. I don't know if your other cruise you got to have your own, but I guess Carnival had strictly you mix. They mix the groups.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Is that something that you guys asked for, or you just sign up for? We'll take a random table, but we want to meet some people.
No, there are people out there in this chat that have done a lot more Carnival cruises than I have, and from my understanding, that's the way they do it. You're always at a table with other people. You don't have a solo table.
Okay, well, I do remember that also. Even when we went with our family of four, I believe we made a selection. You could say you could eat alone if you want to, but we often would ask for a larger table, knowing that they'd put some other families that were close in mind with what you had, and I'd say that's even more important on a singles cruise.
Well, and it's funny. You notice how it started out. Those four of us, the four males there are the four of us that were friends, and the four females were the four friends there. And they started out by putting you boy, boy, girl, girl. So I'm sure that changed by the later on in the cruise. Let's see. Then part of the singles thing was we still did the excursion stuff. I think this might have been St. Martin, and we did the excursions, but even those were geared towards having fun and drinking. And this was a boat, one of the many side trips we took. And this was, of course, open bar. We just went out there to an island. They had music playing. And even Wayne, this has changed a lot because now they'll take you out to these all-inclusive islands with food and stuff. Back then when we took this, it was just an island and they had coolers waiting for you. It was kind of neat in one way, but if you're there with a family, it's not going to fit, right?
Yeah, no, it depends on the excursions you book. And I know that on some of the later cruises I went on, they did take us. Carnival has their own Cay island that they took us to and transplanted the party to the island, and also had swim with the stingrays and things like that that you could sign up for. So it's interesting that they have actually tapped the excursion market themselves. So they're selling you excursions that are actually they own as well. So
right,
it's a nice way of double dipping, I suppose.
But just the way though, it was so much geared towards singles. Well, when we get to our single cruise, we can talk about what we took there. But this is a mermaid we just found on the shore, and of course they had volleyball nets set up. We're all in there playing.
That's interesting that they'd actually set up these events for you that just to keep the mingling going on, even as you went to the islands, which is a nice touch.
Well, the cruises didn't set that up. That was actually the hotels. You just walk the beach and you come across a net and you get to know people on the cruise. So you just kind of hang out yourselves and start your own volleyball game.
Yeah, I was cross country skiing this morning, but it makes me want to get back to the beach and play some volleyball. I missed that.
I know. Before we go into the second part of the cruise, I'm just going to peek on the chat here since we were kind of ignoring it while we talk. Let's see. We left off Amy there. Okay, let's see. Box Van D. I've been on one cruise I've been on is a Mexican Riviera. See, she must go out of California. That's one that we haven't gone on the West Coast at all. That used to be the one they showed a lot. Remember when that Love Boat show? Everything was down the West Coast.
That right. The Love Boat was Pacific Princess, if that's correct. But
yes, the original.
always thought to be some. I'm not sure you can quite get to the South Pacific. That's a bit further away, but a lot of islands on that side that are interesting to see as well. But there's so much straight out of Miami and Fort and Cape Canaveral area that it seems a shame not to run from the East Coast when we live here.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. There's so much here. The main ports are down in Miami, so it's almost a shame to fly across the country. Sean says, John, I did not know you like dressing up. I didn't, Sean. If you notice that picture, I was not dressed up. It was my roommates that were dressed up because I don't like to dress up in formal wear and I don't like to dress up in, let's say, non-formal wear. Tyler, welcome in. And welcome in Mary Ellen Dillon. Let's see. Welcome in Jeffrey. He's from Rhode Island, Wayne.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can see where folks are from. It's
no, it doesn't tell on here.
a way to keep in touch with folks.
This is just by memory. Okay, so we've gone through that. So now we go on to the next picture. Group of pictures. Oh, this is the singles cruise. Oh, it's not a singles cruise. No, we actually didn't join the singles club on this one. This is my first experience with a group cruise. I did not know I ran the group cruise until I hear about all the group cruises now. I did one without the knowledge. This was a group that I put together, and we did a cruise. Actually, it was both me and Bro Wayne, who's in the front of this picture, put it together with friends and family. And this was with 16 of us. So it was a different, it wasn't 4 guys, it was a mixed group. So this gives you another aspect of the singles cruise.
And it's a fun group when you look back at these old pictures, just to think about. There was, I see a couple of cousins in there that joined us, college buddies, high school buddies. Johnny and I probably had an even split of friends that had joined us on it. So it was a really neat blend of folks that were just there to go out and have a good time.
Right.
Not necessarily, see anything particular. And there we are doing our safety concern because we're always top concern for safety.
Now, I know you haven't been on top of it, but this is probably the last time you put these things on. Of course, we were taking the test there very seriously. Now they're going to be having it on the TV sets, Wayne, which is interesting. Because of social distancing and everything, everything's going to be done in your cabin.
You just stay in your cabin for the whole cruise too? That's pretty safe.
Well, you look at some of the rules, you wonder. Everyone's just kind of waiting to see what comes out. This was on a bus. I think it was a bus, right?
I remember being quite impressed on this as being my first cruise with the the props. A really cool piano bar, a bus in the middle of a boat was just unheard of. Just the amenities on the boat were, of course, for that at that point in time when we were doing this. Were crazy fun to think all this was on a ship.
And we thought this ship was huge. This ship, what did we come to the conclusion? It was 70,000?
Yeah, it was, high 60, 70,000, 72 or something like
60,
that.
60, yeah.
Yeah, and the next one I went on was, I believe, twice that, or about 120.
Yeah. Well, and anything around 100 now, I feel is a decent size. I skip anything that's 60 to 70. It just doesn't seem big enough.
I'd actually asked somebody while on the line, and I understood that that particular boat, the Holiday, had been refitted and was running up a river, were river size in the Carolinas, or somewhere down in that area. Was just doing like short 3-day tours.
Really? Okay.
See if that's still out there running. That was the last time I was on a Carnival ship. They had told me that, but whether it's still commissioned or not.
Well, the sad thing is most of those older ships now, they're either scrapping or selling them to other cruise lines. They just can't social distance on them, so they're getting rid of a lot of the ships in the fleet. That might have been when it's gone. Is it just on deck? We spend, like I said, as single people, okay, I guess it was during the contest. That's a cousin on, isn't that cousin on the left, far left?
Ronnie on the left here. Yep.
Funny how they put the tallest guy and the shortest guy next to each other. This is beer drinking contest. I don't think you see these anymore. I have not come across one of these on cruise ships in recent times.
I know there's lots of contests, but they're not so much focused on drinking. But
right. This was what do you call it? Is it chicken? What's the one you get on the shoulders there?
Yep, chicken fights in the
chicken
pool.
Fights.
Yeah,
the chicken fights in the pool. I mean, Carnival was wild back, a lot more wild back then. This cracked me up. I saw this picture and I'm saying, how did we? This wasn't me. This was some Wayne and some of his friends.
Might have been in
How
my
did you get
room.
all that booze on the ship? Is my question.
Well, I believe we smuggled from the buffets for the fruits and vegetables, but the booze, they either let you bring it on, or it was much easier to just carry it back in a bag after you went to Jamaica.
But
I'm not sure they had the same limitations and restrictions they do today.
no, in fact, I remember you could grab, like, we would grab a 6-pack of island beer and bring it on with no problem. Now they check it, and you don't get it back till the night before on the cruise.
Right.
So it'd be a lot harder if you do. But I'll tell you something. The last cruise we went on, I was able to walk through with 2 bottles on me from an island. They just were lax, you know. So there is those little breakdowns that you can do. And of course, you know, even though we're out there drinking this and that, we would drink, we'd party, we'd dance, we'd go to the night shows, right? I mean, we still did the nighttime entertainment.
Yeah, I think we kind of started our day around noon, and get there for lunch, recharge, bite the dog that bit you sometime on the boat deck, and then maybe play a few games and make sure you took the shows in and get ready for another fun night of debauchery around the boat. But yeah, I remember the shows. We all thought those were outstanding as well, and even looking at this now, the shows have become so much more of a production on the cruises. It's even that's changed quite a bit.
Well, one of my favorite parts now is the breakfast. I love the breakfast on the ship, all that kind of stuff. And I remember making very few on these cruises, these sailor cruises, because you sleep late. And this is what you had mentioned earlier. We went every night. There was a local bar. In fact, that blonde in the back was the piano player, right?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. I think my wife's sitting behind the keys right now, but she was a great sport, and we got to know her quite well that week. That's where we usually started our nights. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the guy in front of her, we tried the whole cruise to fix her. The guy in the hat, fix her up with him. Remember?
Yes. Yep.
But that was like a nightly thing. We'd go in there. I think it was before dinner, and we would just sing show tunes. A bunch of drunk single people singing show tunes. I don't know.
I do remember that after they made the mistake of giving us those noisemakers, they turned into quite the kazoo experience, where we joined the band. So we would play along and have a great time with our pianist.
Yeah, there was a lot of interaction back then. I think a little more interaction back then than there was now. That's members of the group just getting drunk. This was since I was considered the group leader for this thing. Back then, they would give you, I don't know what night they did it, but they delivered, this is an invitation for me to go either to captain's table. So I was trying to decide, do I wear a suit or do I put on that nighttime lingerie they use in the show? But this is Wayne reading the invitation. I look back at that. I'm not sure why I got to sit up there and you didn't, but somehow I weaseled my way into it.
I don't think the captain of the ship, I think he was Italian and didn't speak English, so I figured I'd let you go with that one. So.
Yeah, which speaks less Italian than you do. This is a Congo line.
He did have a cute wife that's shown in one of the pictures as well, so it wasn't all for a loss.
That's true. This is just in one of the bars. Guys, take a good look at this. Social distancing. You're probably not going to see bars this crowded for quite a while. But that was a lot of fun.
Unless you go down to Florida, I think you can probably see it today. But
yeah, I know. After the Super Bowl there, they packed them into the bars. Our group was in front of the railing there. Well, some of our group. This is a limbo contest. There's Bro Wayne easily going underneath. We used to have dances up here that we put on in the town I live in, and we would have limbo contests. And his wife now, who is in here but they were single back then, used to always win it. Her and another girl would always win it. Now I don't think we have any pictures of Kim doing any kind of limbo in here, but she was always quite the limbo person.
I also had that disadvantage, Brother John, that Grecian nose that I share with some of our family members. I was guaranteed I could never quite make that last final run.
You hooked the bar, huh?
Yep, always hooked the bar.
An on-deck party. Okay, there's me at the captain's table, being very professional, dressed up.
There's the captain.
That's a captain. And, well, that wasn't his wife. You're saying that was his wife. That wasn't his wife.
Well, I'm going to go with that anyways, yeah.
That was another single girl on the cruise.
Oh, and she stole place next to the captain. Okay. That makes more sense then.
I'm sure the captain set that up. You wonder who puts the arrangements here. But that was a fun time just doing that.
That was neat to experience that.
And of course, we did our excursions. We got another one of those open bar snorkel excursions. You think we learned, and that's part of our group there. I'm not even sure where we snorkeled. Do you remember?
I don't remember the stops for that cruise. Well, I know Jamaica was on the list. I'm not sure if this is at Jamaica that we did the dive platform.
No, it wasn't Jamaica because we did Dunn's Falls for that one.
Grand Caymans as well. Grand Cayman.
Did you do Grand Cayman? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was one of the stopovers. Yep. So there's some beach time as well, which was good recoup time or recharge time, I should say.
So this probably kind of looks a little bit like 7 Mile Beach. Okay, this is Dunn's Falls. I did it once. Nancy wanted to do it on one of our recent trips, and I said, no way. Can you imagine us climbing Dunn's Falls? I don't know.
Yeah, what was interesting here is one of the folks we were with there, he had taken for some strange reason, took a tumble down the stairs on the ship and had sprained his ankle pretty bad. So we bought one of those nice canes from one of the islanders, and he actually hobbled his way up this. It was clear to me that there's no such thing as illegal. Lawyers waiting at the other end for you. They said, have at it. We don't care if you're hopping up here on crutches. They sent you into the falls with the running water, which was a lot of fun, of course.
And that, I always thought that too. If that was an American, can you imagine the liability insurance you'd have for that? These rocks were slippery. I mean, I don't know why more people didn't get toppled over on this.
Yep, hand over hand climbing to get yourself up safely, and it was a bit of an adventure, particularly when it was probably midday and we had already gotten started in our fun. It's interesting when you look at the couples cruise compared to when you go with a group of friends, you can really see the benefits of this. This is just an ongoing party. You can see we're actually together quite a bit. As you slept in, you went and played some games with those that were adventurous, but then you moved on and did each of your adventures and your outings together as a group, because you went there with this group and that's who you stuck with. A little different than some of the other cruises experience that we're about to talk about. Right.
Okay, so before we go on to the couples, quickly back to the chat here, and we have some Sean going back and forth with Heather over something. Welcome in Camping with Clammy. Thank you for joining us. Jeffrey, hello again. Let's see. You had a rep. I mean, I am not destroying it per se. You must like changing its focus. Not sure what that means. Yeah, it was. You said Princess Cruises. Box Fan D did a Princess Cruise out of Long Beach. What'd you say, Wayne?
Oh no, I just wondered if your rep was in question after your clothing selection during one of those slides.
Oh, okay.
And so he got to cruise with Julie McCoy and the crew, I guess.
Yes. Graham Patterson, he's our friend from Scotland. Welcome in.
Oh, excellent.
And the Najuma Brown, you'll see her name in every live you go to. She's a great supporter of different webs.
Well, thanks for
different
joining,
channels, I should say.
Joining us today
in,
for my first time on.
Sherry's my playlist buddy. Welcome in. She's also a travel agent. Let's see. Flip Flop Nation. That's Ronnie's, what do you call it? Secret station. Hey, welcome in, Ronnie. If you can say that, this is his woo. I can never do it. I try and get Nancy to go, woo. Hey, hello, everyone. Sorry, that's the best I can do. Okay, then we get
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
From Utah. Oops, let me get that. Okay. Why is it? Wait a minute. There it is. Okay. Okay, let's see. Check anyone flip flop. Oh, Danny's in. Welcome in, Danny. He's another one of him and Blaine. I think are our two moderators in the house right now. They're the ones that keep out all the riffraff.
That's good. It seems like a very nice crowd, so I'm impressed.
Okay, so
good job.
So we'll put that on pause, and now we will move on to couples. Now, man, what a difference couples cruises are, huh?
Yep. That
I
quiet
mean, look
that
at we're
that
sitting there
quiet time.
totally sober by the pool before we go to the ship. If this was a single stuff, we'd be half drunk in the pool, huh?
Yep. No, it is a fun mix, and actually, I found that the one of the things our parents had always taught us growing up, we'd go on any trip. Didn't matter if it was a camping for a weekend, but always make a friend was it. And to this day, when my kids go away, my kids are grown up now and doing their own traveling. When they get back, I'll say, "Did you meet any friends?" And they'll remember from my stories of growing up. So couples cruises were a great way. You go off and have a great alone time, but at the same time, um, they often have newlywed games and kind of couple orientated games and activities if you decide to go to those particular nights. So it's a fun way to meet other couples that typically are in the same kind of place in life as you are.
But the one thing I did realize as I had kids, when they told us to go off and find friends, they always took it that they didn't want us to be alone. They wanted us to be with kids our age. But as I realized, trying to do that with my kids, they were just trying to get rid of us.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it all worked out. Yeah.
Which is fine. Nothing against it. So there again, with couples, okay, it was we get up earlier, we do the breakfast, we do the lunch. I know this sounds like we look at the flyer that they handed out, and we do trivia contests, the little golf contest. Everything was more in moderation. Well, is more in moderation as couples. We would do stuff, but it wasn't just go out and get sloshed and party. This was the closest we came to it here. This was a show on, I can't remember, the Prohibition or something on one of the NCL cruises. Now, you went on with your smaller family, but you must have had some couple time, correct?
We did. Yep, we did. And even in other spots that we've stayed, I mean, like I say, there's usually some events that are geared towards couples. If you go to or singles, where you kind of focus on the singles bar. But even while we're on the cruise with our kids, and we got a few of those nights to escape or afternoons, we would find some fun events, and they might have a newlywed game thing where you could test to see if you still knew each other after, kids and 10 years of marriage. But it's a neat extended date night for a week.
Yeah, definitely, and you can almost do it within a day too. You can send them off, and at least have some time together. And this was a couple saying we went to the boatyard in Barbados, very nice, relaxing, did some snorkeling there. It's a much slower pace, right? I guess you'd say.
Yep.
This is on the private island, one of the keys or Ks, depending on which side of that fight you're on.
Now, when you did the couple related ones, did you tend to take more advantage of, if not the structured excursions? Were you touring the islands more and making use of the days for enjoying the destinations?
Yeah, it's funny you said that, and I wouldn't have thought of this, but when we went together, we would go to certain islands, and we'd get intimidated, the two of us, and we'd stick to the port or we'd stick to the excursion. When we went with my son on our last one, just having that second male there or that third person, we actually went into the towns and walked the streets and got beer from the different locations. So it is. You're right. It's a totally different. This was a ship excursion to Disney Springs, I think it's called now. Those type of things, like you said, walking around, that kind of thing.
Yep, you're a lot more mobile, I think, when you're with just with your spouse. Like you say, you might be a little more intimidating, but you can also pretty much change on a dime where you don't have maybe a couple kids screaming for the beach or an ice cream or I'm hungry now, depending on what age they are, or I want to go play with the friends I met on the boat.
Right.
So it is kind of nice to be able to move fluidly and see a lot more. And even if you just want to hang out and sit on the beach, you can do that. You don't have anyone telling you to do any different, which is a nice break.
That's absolutely true. Now, I'm a little confused here. Did I put these out of order here? That's not good.
Let's see. That would be, I think that
should be our last one.
No, I think is that the, yeah, that's what destination Bermuda, right?
Yeah. So let me go back and find the other ones. First of all, let me pop back in the chat here. Hopefully we didn't miss anyone. Flip flop, we got Griswold. Let's see.
Amy If you
It's
look for
so.
the Carnival Triumph, that's the one that starts off the family time, I believe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the one on there, and I might have put them in the wrong order. I'll have to look in a second. I just want to address the chat here. Amy says it's so strange to not work was supposed to be the busiest day of the year. Oh, so you got the day off, Amy, because your restaurant is open. She's a manager of a restaurant in Texas, I think it is.
So, okay, Valentine's Day. I'm thinking, why is February
Yeah.
the busiest time of the day? And I did celebrate Valentine's Day, if anyone's wondering. But
I know. My wife's working, as you all know, so I'm just sitting here sitting with my bro.
you did remember those flowers, so that's okay.
I
I
did
don't know
remember
why.
them. Yeah. Sean says, I am sorry, John, but it is Monday morning there. This is Australia, and I need to get to the office. His boss is a real a-hole, Sean's boss. So,
Well, Sean, sorry to hear that. It's great to meet you as well.
okay, flip flop. Let's see. Weekend. Oh, welcome in. Weekend RV, and thank you for joining us. And they were over in, I think it's Oklahoma right now. Is it Oklahoma? I think it's Oklahoma right now. They're in the Weekend RV, and it is in the motorhome or an RV, and they're moving around. They're moving around out west right now.
Oh, very nice. That's yeah, great memories of, well, yeah, I can't say it was glamping back then. It was we did more traveling, but family of 6 in an 18-foot trailer, just to put things
Yeah,
in
I know.
perspective for you. And meanwhile, my neighbor with his wife, they take off and they have their fifth wheeler camper that's about 30 feet long, or it's bigger than my house, with bump outs all over the place, and it's nicer than my house. Yeah,
They're unbelievable now. KPJP Florida. They are from the UK, and I have problems. I try hooking up to their live, but we're not matched up time wise. So, but it's nice to see them in here. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Any other comments? Okay, Amy said we closed about 30 minutes ago due to weather. Really, this city is basically shut down. It's funny. You think you learn all the world. Nancy and I were talking about this. Across the U.S., like when we get a blizzard, everyone in the U.S. knows it. But they get nailed over on the west coast, towards the west in Oklahoma, Texas. They get
that's
ice
where you're at,
storms.
huh?
Yeah, and I'm assuming that's what she's talking about.
Well, it means it's coming this way, possibly. So we'll have to start bracing ourselves.
Okay, so now let me quickly go find my. Can't believe I miscalculated. Okay, so that's lodge.
If you look for the mini golf and the water slide, that'll give you the next set, I believe.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering where the pictures are. I've got the lodge group. What did I do?
Do you have that link handy?
I'm looking at my lodge. This should be small family group. Well, we're gonna have to do this backwards because you know what I did is somehow I didn't load into the other one. So we'll do this, and then we'll have to go back to the other one.
It works. I think we're flexible. We can handle that.
Silly me. Okay, let's pull this one up. Sorry, people, for the pause. I know a lot of you are probably dying to go out for dinner right now.
Well, I believe the Griswold family vacation's more worried about the 3 feet of snow that's coming their way. So
They're getting 3 feet. They didn't catch that one.
yeah.
Let's see, where is it? You're supposed to have close to 3 feet. Time it. Holy cow! So you're getting it right now, then I assume, right? That's unbelievable. He's over in Oklahoma, and don't you kind of think of that as, I don't know, warmer? Anything west warmer?
Yeah, I know. It's and actually 3 feet is just starts to get ridiculous when you talk to you about the amount of snow. And I've only encountered a 4-foot storm when we were out in the Lake Tahoe area, and it actually shut down all the ski areas and closed the whole area down, the whole basin down.
Unbelievable. Okay, so we move on to small family groups. Okay, this is Bro Wayne's family.
So a lot of this is sure. So a lot of this is based off the Carnival Triumph. When the kids you see there are my son's 14, and in these pictures my daughter 11. So that's bringing a teen with you in a just below teens. Fun, fantastic fun on the ship. Again, more daytime activity, of course. Nights we spent it together. The kind of the one thing that changed the makeup of the trip. Both kids were looking forward to joining the kid groups, and we thought, days would be spent with the kids in a program, and we'd be out having fun with friends they met, and we'd be doing our, a couple thing. And but as it turned out, my daughter's group, she was just a year under this certain age. So just letting people know, when you're booking and you're planning on having your kids get involved in some of the on-ship programs, make sure you see what those programs include for that age group. Because my daughter fell into a group that was really sitting inside doing crafts, so it was more daycare. And they wouldn't let her join my son, who was running around with you'll see a picture of him with a group of friends that he made. So we pulled her out after a few hours in there, and she said, I want to go outside and play, have some fun. And so she just hung out with us for the week. So it was actually great spending the extra time with my daughter, but at the same time, I felt bad with her having to watch my son run around and enjoy a cruise in all its glory while she was stuck in a room. So it's that age group. You got to kind of watch for it and make sure your kids are going to enjoy what's provided for them at that age.
It's interesting because we ran to the same Disney cruise, the same thing. Disney does it so well, and we thought the kids would just eat it up and we'd never see them, because you hear some kids, that's the way they do it. Our daughter went one day and hated it. And our son, I don't think he wanted to go, or maybe he was too young, but they spent the whole week with us, so which was a lot of fun. But it was different than you thought. Your kids got to adapt to it. And of course, this is a big family thing. We love cornhole. We always have family cornhole tournaments.
That's what I snuck away to win a few prizes on this one. Yep.
You won this, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Took some prizes home.
It looks like a tough competition right there. Good job. Let's see.
Yeah, actually found a guy in the boat that played a lot, as much as I did, and that was back before it was really popular. So this was on Grand Cayman, I think it was, the Cayman Islands. We was one of the ports of call, so we had stopped there and done some snorkeling and just enjoyed the beach. So the actual just quick story about this, and one of the benefits of excursions versus not. There was when we got to St. Martin, I believe it was, the plan was to do an excursion. Our big excursion was going to be a boat to do snorkeling with the kids and take them out. But there had been a storm out at sea, and they weren't taking any of the small boats out, so they canceled it on us. And I believe it was going to be about $70 or $80 a person. So you're talking about $300 to $400 to take us out on this excursion. But this was the big trip for the family. So instead, we went in, we got off, and you get off the boat, and they take you in a little bus to the local marketplace. And it was there that my son and I were bored out of our tears. We're just not the shopping part, and the girls were running around looking at things. But got to talk to this really nice guy, and he said, "Look, man, this is what you do. You don't get on the bus you got off of. That's ridiculous. Get on the one over there where all the local folks are getting on, and stop at this particular road where you see a sign for an aquarium that you can go, and you go check out the aquarium, walk down the road, and there's these huts on the left-hand side. You go up there and ask for Reggie, and Reggie will set you up with your snorkeling stuff." So we gave it a shot. And like you say, it's a little intimidating when they let you off a bus and you're in the middle of nowhere with maybe a burnt out car and some chickens running around you. And you're wondering, I'm wondering if we just got sent into a bad situation here. But there were tour buses running down the road to the aquarium. So we made our way down to the there. And best snorkeling. I'm a scuba diver, so I've done legit dives and for both water life and wrecks. But this was the best diving I'd ever seen, mainly because they chum the waters to attract a lot of tropical fish for the aquarium, because they had a reverse aquarium where you were under the water. But all those fish came over to the 15 feet of water that we were snorkeling in, and would just flood around your body. It was a best experience ever for snorkeling, and it all came because this. I think it ended up costing me maybe $10 a person for this experience. Real authentic. No tourist around except for a few people visiting the local aquarium. But so sometimes it's worth that adventure. This was a big payoff for taking a chance and listening to one of the locals that just was a nice guy and set us in the right place to go.
I compliment your bravery. Quickly going over to the chat here, because people, just so people know who just popped in, what we're doing is, Brother Wayne, we're going through friends, fun, singles, going on a cruise single, going on a cruise as a couple, going on a cruise as a small family group or a small family, and as a big family experience. These are all things that we've experienced, and we're discussing them. Maybe it will help you, maybe it won't. It's just our point of view. Um, welcome in Midlife Crazy. Hey, Professor. See, they acknowledge that because of my wisdom.
Yep, I can see why.
Yeah,
I've always been Big Brother. That's
thank
Professor
you for
works for me. Yeah.
that's right. Laughing out loud, Amy. Every time we open the door to let Bear out, that's a dog. We gotta get them straight. We get snow in the house. Boy, I'm
Is
glad we're
Snow
not
your
getting.
cat?
No, that it could be cat snow. Welcome in, Gabby. Thank you for joining us. It's another one of our moderators. And let's see, anyone else? Okay. KPJP says, wow, that sounds amazing for snorkeling. It's just getting over the trust issue when you. Yeah, he's braver than me because
Absolutely.
I wouldn't do that. But it is the way to go. They always tell you that. But you know, it's funny, Wayne, nowadays, right now, at least for the next year, probably 2 years, they're not allowing anything but ship excursions because they want you to stay isolated, kind of in a
I'll keep you in your
excursion
group.
hole.
Yeah.
So that won't even be an option if you go in the near future.
Yeah, because I know it's worked out every time we've kind of gone off the mapped course. You know, when you do the ship excursion, of course, it's nice because they guarantee you're on and off the boat. They won't leave without you. You don't have to worry about transfers or any of that. But even when we did the trip to Jamaica, I remember we insisted we rented an entire van for about 10 of us, and we told them where to take us, and
Yes.
kind of controlled it. So he took us to the marketplace we wanted to go to, not the one that somebody else was telling him to bring us to. We got to see a little bit more authentic, a little bit more of what's going on in the background, which is a fun part of it.
That's a very valid point that I forgot to bring up because that was huge. If you could put your minds back when we went back to the singles one, like my brother's saying, with 16 people, you have no fare and half in the bag the whole cruise. So you don't really worry. So we basically had a guy rent the driver in the van that. It's really funny too because we tell them to take us to Dunn's Falls, but they all got their cousin or their sister who owns a restaurant remember we actually stopped off at was it like a flea market and they got matching shirts or something?
Yep, actually, it was pretty funny because the first thing he told us where he was going to take us, and we pretty much have to say, no, you don't understand. First place you're taking us is to a local liquor store, and he went in and arranged to have they didn't have styrofoam coolers then. He got like a wash tub, a bag of ice, and then a pile of Red Stripe beer. So we said, okay, now that you brought that, now you can bring us to the marketplace of your choice, and where we can get some good deals. And so once he understood, nope, we'll let you do your thing. You just got to make sure we get what we're looking for too. So
Right.
I think it's but it is, they all want to bring you to their neighbor's house or their friend's business. So you got to make sure and just be pretty insistent.
That's right.
You know where you want to go.
To answer your question, have cruises started the U.S.? No, not even close. They haven't even started the test cruises yet. We're a ways off. We're hoping I'm hoping they'll have it by late fall, but we'll see what happens. The safety in numbers, right? Oh, Dunn's Falls is lovely, but walking back through those huts was quite intimidating. Head down. Yeah, like I said, we did it with 16 people, so I think they were more afraid of us at the time than we were of them. And that does help. It helps big time when they're trying to
Absolutely
force stuff down your throat. Okay, there's a picture of father and daughter. Another great experience when your kids are young and they don't remember a lot of the stuff, but they tend to remember the vacations, don't they?
They do, and moments like this are just to this day. Every wedding she comes and grabs me at a wedding and says, "Come on, let's get people started dancing, Dad." So it's a thing. Yeah, this is some of the snorkeling from the location at St. Martin I was talking about. This doesn't really show the fish too well, but this would have been a disposable underwater camera at the time.
You think back then what we were using for cameras, and this is just on one of the cruises you did stop off to do the boats.
Yeah, no, actually, this was interesting because we got back to we were doing a stopover in Miami before we headed back up to the New England area, but we had a 4 or 5 hour layover to wait to get our next flight. So our choice was to hang around the airport for 5 hours, and we didn't know what to do with our bags and all that. But we found the best thing to do is we grabbed a car for the day. It probably cost $20 or $30 at the time, and we drove down to the Everglades, took a airboat ride and saw an alligator show, and then got back to the airport. So we made great use out of that. Well, could have just been a waste of time sitting in an airport, for a pretty low price of grabbing a car to store your bags, and so you can get around a little bit. So a great thing to remember if you're ever stuck somewhere. see what it takes to grab a car for 4 hours.
That's excellent.
Go see the area. Yeah.
And this was basically our small family group. This is, of course, Nancy and I, you probably recognize me without the mustache, and our children. And this is just basically, this is when our son-in-law was added to the picture. Just dressed, I guess we're not dressing up, we're in Hawaiian shirts, but the different, I mean, I think one of the best things with the family is the meals, just sitting down and kind of everyone talking the day, right? Would you agree with that?
Yep, absolutely. It's a great way to kind of cover the day and then talk about what you want to do tomorrow too. It kind of level sets and gets you ready for another day of fun.
It's a barroom game. Nancy beating my son in, I guess we would call that pong back in our beer pong back in our day, right?
Well, I don't like the way they. I think that's that Beirut game where they bounce a ping pong ball into a cup. But
no, that little black thing on the board is like a little slingshotty thing. You put the ball in like a catapult.
Oh, that's even more fun. Okay,
yeah,
I'll build that one next then. Sounds good.
Yes, it's a little version. This is, of course, we did a family. What do you call it? The laser tag that they had on some of the newest ships. Always doing the volleyball and the different games. That's one thing we would get into when we did this as singles or bigger groups. You tend more to get into these competitive games. And during the day, we all love these TV show games. This is son came on the cruise and he got it. He'll have a video come out on this soon. We'll put it up there. But this was a prohibition. He actually got dragged up on stage and duct taped by these women to a chair. And you have to watch the video to see the rest.
Oh, it's great to have mom and dad around for those moments, right?
Yeah. Actually, I was proud of them. This is a boat we in Bermuda. Bermuda, we just rented. This is a great way to go. If you go to Bermuda, they have these Boston whalers. What a great way to spin around the island on. They weren't that outrageous either.
See, that's I put that in that adventurous list because even renting cars in foreign lands and renting a boat of any type, you're always worried about the liabilities or even beaching these items. So, kudos to you and the family for grabbing something like that and having, I'm sure, a great day with it.
Well, this was the one, I guess I just didn't know how to operate the boat. I brought it back 2/3 full with water, and I flooded my video camera and other camera, $500 worth of equipment. So that was ruined because of the seawater. So it wasn't the most successful day, but until I knew all that was going to happen, it was a lot of fun. You could stop at a couple of the little islands there and get off. This is another port here with the monkeys. We have short videos and regular videos out on this if you want to see the day with the monkeys. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, we were braver with more family on board, going to the local pubs as we walked around the island. This is Bermuda also, renting jet skis.
Yep.
They have a great miniature golf right on Bermuda. This is a catamaran snorkel excursion that we took as a family, which was a lot of fun. So that is the small group. Do you have anything you want to say about that while I find the last category we have here?
No, it just reminds me of all the fun you can have. And I again, I'll stress when you do those little adventures and you stop to talk to people, you stop bantering for a minute. And, my questions are usually, hey, if you weren't on the cruise and you wanted to go snorkeling or to a bar or to a restaurant, where would you be going with your friends and family? And if you get someone talking in a nice way, you'll actually, you can learn a little bit more about the experience in the island and actually get to know a little bit of the culture too. And I usually had great luck doing that. And like you say, when you're running off to some of the back alley bars, and you tend to meet more authentic people there, and folks that live and work there and willing to talk to you are a lot better than the overrun places that you'll find at ports.
Right. Okay. So we go on to the large family. Oh, get up there. Large family groups. This was 14 people that we went on this cruise, and it was for my mother's 75th birthday out of Boston. On the Spirit, which is actually even smaller than the Holiday, if you remember, but seemed big, decent size to us at the time.
Yeah, it did actually. It's a great way to go too when you're port of call. You don't have to fly or leave your car, 8 hours from your house or whatever. This was all fairly close to where we all live, so it was nice to be able to leave from the Boston and actually get to tropical like destination.
That was coming to review. That's the whole crew right there. I was going to say it must have been a formal night, but we do have some. I guess that was as close to formal as we got, right? Do
Yeah.
we have a night where we dressed up in?
I'm not sure if I was willing to do that. I think this was, we said put a nice shirt on for pictures. Apparently, I wasn't listening, but the rest of you look like you dressed up a little nicer. But it was
I think it was just thrown on. You can see my shirt's kind of all over the place. As long as it was a collared shirt, that was a big thing. Now this was different because I found that the group, the older adults, tended to hang out as the cruise went on, and the kids went off and did their own thing without even kind of setting it in motion. It just kind of went off. Got into a little mischief that we didn't know about till after the cruise, thank God. But
yeah, it's funny. I was, there's a few pictures I thought to add, but it's always interesting seeing if you get the full set of pictures from all the kids that are with you and the older people. Looking at the pictures that our mom had posted, the ones that we took, and the ones that our kids took, were three different ways of looking at this trip, and it was pretty funny. The kids, of course, were them doing crazy things that I'm glad I didn't know were happening while we were there, and the adults, we're taking pictures of each other into activities and doing things, and our mom would be taking people. She always loves to get our pictures over and over again. So it's always interesting to see. Obviously the trip through the eyes of our mom was being with family, and was the important part for her, and that's what she captured on film. Versus we're all capturing the activities and each other's lunacy. So fun trip to tape. But you're right. You did tend to segment off a bit more. It's good, Brother John's always great about making sure there's an itinerary that, has, we'll always agree we'll meet for dinners and certain activities or shows. And then, it's a free for all after that. And then if you, you find spots that you hook back up again, or you find common meeting ground, so you run into each other as more often, worked out pretty well.
And the funny thing with this too is that there weren't apps back then, or cell phones we weren't using. So basically, we'd have to look at the agenda at the beginning of the day and say, let's meet here. Because one thing we were big into as a family is getting into any tournament that was offered. Ping pong, shuffleboard, there's several other ones. So we'd have to have meeting points, because you couldn't just walk around the ship and find someone, even though the ship wasn't that big.
Right. I knew that when I wanted to find Johnny, I'd say, okay, great. We should be doing the ping pong tournament now, or the shuffleboard, or the dodgeball, and because we had talked about it the night before. So, and this is probably a little break time that we finally took and said, okay, let's take a break from games for a moment.
Right. And then the dinners were always together, and then we followed that by the show, which a lot of times we were leaving dinner a little early and running to the show. But that's basically what we made sure we did every day. As far as the breakfasts, that was kind of a different pace. I mean, I was getting up every morning with my mom, and certain people would join us, but that wasn't a regular thing.
Yeah. What's nice too is we all booked rooms. We originally were going to get all rooms right next to each other. Obviously, it's easier to bump into each other. Our mom definitely wanted a room with a window. She had, just preferred that. So she got the room. We had rooms scattered out a little bit, but we still managed to hook up with each other. But also the type of room you have and the accommodations, you can kind of scale it to what you're most comfortable with. If you need a window or a balcony view.
Yeah, that's a good point, because do we all? No, we didn't. You had one that was inside, right? And our sister had one with the window, didn't she?
I think she might. Yeah, she probably got one as well. And I know Mom wanted one with the window, definitely. We were just we always figure we're not going to be in the room that much unless we're sleeping. So we'll take an inside one and be happy with it.
I always figured, even now, who knows when cruises come back, if the prices will change. But I could always get almost half a cruise in with a difference in price between the inside and the balcony. And like you said, I was never in there, so it really didn't matter. This is another just contest that I'm sure if you look, there's Brother Wayne's in that. On the males on the left side. That was the one I think you were handing balloons between your legs, but it wasn't in the risque way like the Carnival cruises.
Well, these young kids, they didn't know how to make these games work. I'll tell you, depending on them to do things a certain way, and they just didn't have it. But we had a lot of fun. Actually, the pretty good competition we had through the week. I won't say who might have come home with more swag, but we there was I think there's a picture in here later where we had entered a dance contest, my wife and I, and while we were up there, one thing we're both able to do is throw a cartwheel when we need to, and it put us over the top to win, and brought home about 20 pieces of swag just from that one event alone. So it put us in a pretty good place for our family competition on who can bring the most prizes home.
Yeah, it was funny because it turned into a competition as the week went on, and between families, and we had a great picture and great video of it, and neither one of us could find it. So, I mean, a lot of people, considering I wasn't the one who won, a lot of people probably think I got a hold of the footage and got rid of it. But it was
Evidence is
pretty
gone.
funny. You see the lawn chair covered with little prizes from the tournaments. This is another tournament here. This is dodgeball.
It's also a great way. Of course, cousins hanging out together is fantastic, but also it's really a lot of fun for the when you do these kind of cross generation trips. Johnny and I being able to hang out with our nephews and compete with them, and all have our own dodgeball team. Was a really neat thing to experience. It's great to have your kids watch you actually having this level of fun and participating in these events. And a cruise is a great way to get there.
Kind of interacted on a level ground. This is one of the several shuffleboard, which actually my niece and daughter both won as partners.
As the kids when they're not with us.
Let's see, and I think this is just the kids. They had met some other kids on boat, and that's how they hung out in the hot tub. It's funny. Just some quiet time while they're running around causing problems. We're just relaxing out in the. Well, it wasn't really the bridge. I guess it was in front of the ship, right?
Yeah, this was an observation deck, and it's funny. I mentioned earlier that you find your spots to kind of meet people that you migrate back to, and that spot you just showed was, I knew that kind of an unspoken word that, hey, before we get to dinner, before we go to shows, or if you're ready to start your evening a little early, we're going to start up there and grab a drink and look out. And I multiple times I'd go up there and find my mom up there, or sister or brother up there, and it was an informal meeting spot to spend a little bit more time together.
Right.
So it's good to have that in your back pocket.
It is. It's great to do that. And here are the dinners, which we said was a requirement that we all, which I'm sure everyone would want to do anyways, but it was a great time to kind of go over the day's events or talk about the next day's events and just have a few laughs. The show, like I said, we made sure we did a dinner and a show. That was every night, correct?
Yes. Yep. So we always made sure and like you said, we ran into some timing constraints because I think we always wanted the earlier dinner, but then that could interrupt your fun and games.
Well, we tried the earliest dinner to get the earliest show because we don't want to be up ultra late, but we're always rushing off. The two mingles because the dinner takes so long. So
now I'm realizing here that Brother John must have snuck out and joined the kids, because I got away with that a few nights myself. But when this is the kids,
I didn't even realize that. You must have been taking the picture. That was the dancing that night. Remember that?
Yeah,
the whole crew with a couple of friends that they had met right in the middle.
Another wonderful thing about cruises is that typically you don't get to kind of dance around with your kids and enjoy music and the club experience, except for a wedding. And there's not all that many of those while they're at the age where you can all appreciate that. So it's a neat chance.
Now, Brother Wayne got into 2 dance contests. Okay, we told you the one he won with his wife. And this is one, Wayne, why don't you explain what this one is?
Yeah, this was the Dancing with the Stars. So these were all the employees on the of the ship. These were the professional dancers. So they would get up and take a sorry soul like myself, and we'd dance. And I tried the same trick here. I think I made second place on this. There was some professional ballroom dancer that beat me out, but I had to throw the cartwheel in here too, figuring, all right, that helped us previously. Let's see if that'll put us over the edge on this one. But again, this was dancing with the boat staff. So again, another fun contest to join.
And what they would do is, did they pick them out of a hat, or did you just volunteer?
You wrote your name down if you were interested, and I think my wife wrote my name down, and I was interested. So That's that's how we got there.
And they pull you out, right? They think everyone that wanted to do it didn't do it, right? They just pull names out.
Yeah, I think we had a little edge too. My wife's a very friendly person, and she got to talking to the ship's social director guy, or whatever they call that, on the cruise director, and one of the other staff there. I think he actually thought she was trying to pick him up, and they got to talking. And then when he realized that she was there with the family, he ended up coming over to our table and must have felt guilty because he bought us a drink. And then this contest was a little later in the night. So by the end of the cruise, he knew who we were. We got to talking to him quite a bit. And I remember, not for this contest, but for one at the end of the cruise, he was having trouble getting people to stand up, and had called out and said, "Hey, Wayne and Kim, don't you want to participate in this?" And it's good to get to know the people around you, because I think it got me in this contest, as well as a couple other games later on in the cruise, if you're into that, of course.
Right. Let me just take a second here to welcome Jillian May Cerez. Thank you for joining us today on this Happy Valentine's Day. Okay, the next picture is the other dance one. This is the one with Wayne and his wife that they got first place.
That hurt, by the way. That doesn't look as graceful as it seems. Yeah, I probably didn't walk normally for a few days after that one.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of pain there.
Amazing what alcohol can do. Yeah.
I don't know if I can get up after that.
Alcohol-induced drinking, it works well. So.
And this is an excursion. Like I said, one of the things with a big group like this, you're not all going to enjoy the same excursions. This is one that they had hired a van driver. Nancy and I, my family did not go on this because there's a place in Bermuda we like to snorkel, and it was kind of one or the other for us. So we did the snorkeling for the day, and they went on this trip basically to the island, right, Wayne?
Yep. So we this was good. We actually had lined this up ahead of time because we wanted to make sure and secure a vehicle that would be able to take it was like 10 of us. So we had secured that. They met us at the dock, and we took my mom around. She had done her honeymoon over in Bermuda a lot of years earlier, and so we revisited a few sites, the beaches that she had traveled to, just to kind of bring back some memories for her, which was a nice experience. And then also got to see a lot of the island this way as well.
And let me tell you all something too. Bermuda is first of all, it's one of our favorite islands. But the great thing with Bermuda is most cruises that go there, and I'm talking the ones from Boston, probably in New York, they spend 3 days on the island. Bermuda is a very expensive island. So if you're using your ship as a hotel and in your restaurant, it makes the trip to Bermuda very inexpensive. Something to think about. It has everything. Gorgeous beaches. Remember the day we went to Horseshoe, right?
Yep. There's actually, I think, a picture in here of that with the kids jumping off one of the rocks out in the middle of there. Oh, they had a good time, right, John.
Well, yeah, this scared the crap out of me. We have at least a couple very daredevilish. Wayne's son being one, and my nephew
being the idiot jumping off the rock right now. Yeah, much to my displeasure, but
well, if you see the guy sitting on top of the rock there, they actually climbed up that, right? It's kind of like.
Yep, they climbed up the backside. Yep, it was a bit of a trick to get up, and then coming down was good as long as they checked the water down below and make sure they weren't landing on any of those steps.
Yeah, and that's where you wonder, how they can tell hopefully they felt it out where they were going to dive before they did it, right?
Yep, absolutely. Beautiful beach there, though. We had a great time on that beach, and whole family got a chance to just kind of chill out on a beach. Is also a lot of fun.
Gabby says, love those moves. She's referring to you dancing. Jillian says, good vibes. Okay, where's that? Where did you go? Hold it. Just missed my. Okay, so that was Horseshoe Beach, right?
Yes. Yep. Good memory.
And that's ranked one of the top ones in the world too. To get there from the cruise pier, you need to take a bus, but I think now they actually run direct buses there, so you don't have to get on the public ones, which are nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we used the public. I think we got dropped off by a shuttle, but we took the public transportation back, which worked out fine. As long as you timed it okay and you made it back to your ship for dinner.
Right, and that's the famous. I forget. There's some kind of superstition with that rock there, right? Or something like that.
I thought that was your family when I saw that picture. So.
No, it's not.
And the glass blowing is one of the big features of the island. So I remember we went there and asked them to make a special item for our mom for her birthday. But that was a fun tour and one of the few toury type things that we did while we were on the island.
Yeah, there's a lot right at the pier within walking distance. There's shops, there's a little general store. There was this and a rum cake factory and a perfume place and a small mall. I think we even in miniature golf, jet skis, all right at the harbor that you don't have to walk to. So you could spend your 3 days without leaving that harbor at all, which we did on another trip. Let's see.
Like you say, it's an interesting way of it's an affordable hotel on a nice island.
Oh, I didn't know Jillian worked in a cruise ship. She was there before in Belize when I was working before in a cruise ship. I didn't realize you worked on a cruise ship. That's kind of cool.
What was your role on the cruise ship?
There's a few people online that we talked to that actually are still employees of the cruise ships, and they're going through tough times right now, of course, because Gabby asked, "Neat, was there a cost to those tours?" I mean, everything ran around 100, right?
Yeah, the like I said, well, when we booked the bus, that was just a charge for basically a private bus for the day, and yeah, I'm guessing that was probably $150 for something like that. I don't remember it being too bad. We were also, of course, splitting it all up, so it made it easy to take that. And the glass tour, I think that's what they do that just gratis while you're hanging around in there, so that you'll buy some of their wares.
Yeah. That was good. Chilean worked on a Carnival cruise before. Okay, that must be an interesting, fun way to do it. So we've covered our 4 categories, and they all have great disadvantages and advantages, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I actually take the probably the biggest thing about a cruise is, and you can combine all this on any single cruise, regardless of what group you go with. It's flexible. With a little bit of planning and thinking ahead of time, you can make sure that the people you go with, you can spend the time that you want to spend with them. Arrange for spots that you will meet at if you're just hanging out, or a section of the pool. But then also, you segment the time out so that you can have alone time as a couple or family time with your immediate family. Whether you show up with a group or by yourself. So it's a neat, flexible way of doing a vacation, obviously, and this group probably knows that already. But I found it's worked out well for our family.
Yeah, lots of fun. And I'd like to, as we end this show, I'd like to remind people, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, we'd appreciate it. We have a live show at 2 o'clock this Wednesday. Nancy will be back, and we'll be doing our cruise travel news plus sets where TV shows have been filmed that really exist. And then next Sunday, we'll be doing our regular live show. Hopefully, we'll have Wayne back again, and we'll do a different aspect of traveling. I'd like to, before I let you go, Wayne, I'd just like to, and I have really crappy internet, so this isn't going to be as good, but this will be coming out for anyone who's interested in a full video.
Ah, yeah.
Can you hear the sound, Wayne?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't hear the sound. At least they're cheering.
This was the dance that put them over the top and won first place.
I invented that dance with the riding on my pony. Well, you missed the cartwheel.
I know, that's what bugs me. That was a one time.
Leave it to you, Brother John, to bring this one back out of the archives.
Number 3. Couple number 3, everybody.
This is the voting process, and then the
full dance with the prize. The winning the prizes is going to be coming out on February 25th. If you're curious to watch it.
Oh, great.
Let's see. Let's bring that one down. So, that being said, Wayne, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, John. This was great. It's wonderful to be part of something that's a big part of your life. And wonderful to meet all you folks that joined the party today. It's a happy Valentine's to everybody, and thanks again for having me on.
And we'll see you all again, hopefully on Wednesday, if not next Sunday. And I'm going to keep you on while we wave goodbye. everyone have a good Valentine's Day.